Yeah, you're muted. You're muted. Wait a minute. Yep,
Way,
yep,
no
you're
way I
muted.
done
Yep,
it. No
yep,
way it happened
yep,
again. No way.
yep.
Hopefully, okay. All right, cool. Let's pretend that didn't happen. But what's going on, people? Welcome back to Live Palace News. I'm joined by T here, the main man himself, to talk about all the latest with Palace. Palace are officially back this week, so we're back as well with the content. As always, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to not miss out on future Palace content. T, a week break. How you feeling now that we've got the game coming back? New manager. It's been a good time to kind of digest things. It was a bit hectic last week or for the past 2 weeks, anyways.
I mean, I guess still, yeah, I'm not soaking it in that Roy's there now. I guess now it's just kind of the anxious wait until the Leicester match to see how we line up, to see who's out there, to see how we play and how we set up. So I don't know. I guess that's kind of like the feel at this point.
Yeah, it's like you don't really know what to. I mean, we're gonna do the preview. This is a little spoiler alert ahead of the preview, but you don't really know what to expect. You do to a certain extent, but then again, it's new group of players with a former
Right.
manager. You don't know how the players are going to react. That's going to be interesting. But look, it's 10 potentially cup finals for Palace. I mean, it's massive games coming up. So yeah, I mean, we've had our rest. That was down to the business end of the season, and to start it off. I mean, there's a transfer rumor. I like these. I like transfer rumors. And this one is coming from well, it depends on where you're looking at, but it's coming from over in Argentina, over in Italy as well to a certain extent. So as you can see from the title, Mateo Retegui could be on his way to the Premier League. Both Brighton and Palace are interested in his signature, and that is according to Corriere dello Sport, who said a player's agent is set to fly to London for potential transfer ahead of the summer. Now, T, I mean, when you mention the other club, I'm not going to keep repeating the name. I feel like we've repeated the name too many times in this channel over the past 2 weeks. They don't really get the business wrong. So if you're putting us in the same bracket as them, then that's good in this first step. But for you, we've had a bit of time to digest this news because it's been about 2 days now. It happened over the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
but look, the player plays over in Argentina. He was born in Argentina. He represents the Italian national team. He's still very young when his age.
It's 23.
Right now, yeah, only 23 years old.
Yep,
So,
only 23.
so far this season over in Argentina, he's played 8 games, scored 6 goals. In terms of his games beforehand, I mean, he's had last season he had 26 starts, 19 goals, and 2 assists. Season before that, he had 12 starts and 4 goals. So when he's playing, he seemed like he will be scoring goals, and he seemed like a fairly decent player, still very young as well. Now that you've looked into him as well for a bit, what do you make of the player profile?
It seems like a very interesting profile, man. Interested to know how we came upon scouting him and things like that. I mean, he seems like a pretty interesting young guy that can come in and possibly do some things for us. I think thing that stands out to me is work permit stuff and what that might end up looking like for him coming from Argentina. With all those
Well,
things,
he plays for the Italian national side, so there's the Italy links there. So
but
it's not like he's going, yeah.
So he still has to have a certain amount of points though. With that,
But he
with
plays
playing
for the
for his
national side in
country.
Italy, so that will help.
This is his
I
first
think that will help.
time, and this is his first time though, right?
Yeah, but we've had players that haven't had experience before that's joined. I don't think working permit would be a massive thing at this stage. I mean, yes, I understand where you're coming from, but the fact that he's represented his national side already, I mean, that 100% helps the cause. That's the least of my concerns. But in terms of the player, I know you don't watch Argentina football. We say this, but you watch every type of football. But I'm guessing you don't watch it.
Nah, not a lot. Not
All
a
right,
lot.
fair
It's
enough.
not easy
Yeah,
to
fair
watch it.
enough.
Let me say that.
Fair enough. Look, I don't blame you for it. But based on what you've read and seen, what do you make? Look, it's a striker, which is a massive positive because we desperately need a forward.
Mm-hmm.
But even his goal tallies, I mean, 8 starts this season, 6 goals. I mean, it's over in Argentina. 100% understand that. But then again, there's been players even like the likes of Julian Alvarez. There's been Argentinian national side players that's playing in the Premier League right now. There's been other South Americans that's come over from South America to the Premier League and have performed exceptionally well. So I don't think it's a case of it's doing it in the Argentinian league. It's not going to happen in Premier League. Well, based on the sample size, it does happen. It's not like that league is awful in terms of quality. There are some quality players over there, so that doesn't concern me as much. But in terms of the goal tallies, he's looking good, man. I mean, that's what you want to see: 6-8, 19-26, 4-12.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that stands out with him is his finishing ability. He seems like he's really good with scoring. I mean, something that we need. And the thing about it is, for him to be playing over in Argentina and to get the opportunity to now be playing for Italy, that doesn't happen for no reason. Like, there are a lot of there's a lot of Italian strikers that they could have called up to have that opportunity to play on the national team, but they called him. So I think that says a lot. So, and then Brighton's looking at him too. I mean, he's obviously a pretty talented young man that's now getting the attention of Premier League squads. So,
and one thing for me, look, the player in itself sounds exciting, and let's say it doesn't happen. The one thing for me is the fact that we are looking, and we talked about this last week. We're looking abroad. We're looking at a wider horizon to get some of these players. If it's a case of this is the start of many, then I'm happy with it. South America, we're not always going to find players in the Championship. And so far, it has worked in the Championship, but we have to look at other places like South America or even maybe Eastern Europe and other places that potentially that we can find these young gems. So for me, even if we don't get the player, if we're looking at these type of areas, that gives me a bit more confidence, because right now I was a bit worried about our approach in terms of, yes, it has worked in the Championship, but you're not always going to find players in the Championship that can step up to the plate. There's going to be some that doesn't work out. That's the reality of it. And that's why you need to have a wider horizon of recruitment. And if this is a case of we're looking at South America from now onwards, that's another positive step, because we desperately need to, now that Vieira's gone, I don't know who the next manager is going to be. We need to try, strengthen our recruitment rather than relying on French players to come in because of Patrick Vieira's sake.
Yeah, you definitely have to have your scouts set up in a variety of places, and with the connections that we may or may not have so-called down there to South America with things like Botafogo, things like that. So I think it's important for us to take those opportunities to scout those areas, because a lot of great players are coming from down there. I mean, you're talking about a team like Brighton, who actually have an Argentinian coach and have an Argentinian player on their team also. McAllister is on their team. So it goes to show there's talent down there. And then they can play at a high level. So I think it would be...
Zerbi's Italian, by the way. I'm pretty sure.
Is he Italian?
Yeah, he's Italian.
Oh, okay.
But I know you saw the comment from Thunder. That's Thunder's fault, not your fault. Don't worry about it. He's Italian. I don't know where. Yeah, because I remember he's been linked with the Italian national team as well. He's an Italian football coach. He was born in Italy as well.
But I think that the thing that's important is, like you said, that we are taking the time to expand our horizons, to really explore other markets that we haven't in the past.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, if this is the start, then fair enough. But potentially, and that's what excites me the most about this rumor. I'm not saying it's going to 100% happen, but one, it seems like an exciting player, and second of all, it's a player that a player from an area that we haven't really looked into as much. Yeah, so that's what's the excitement that's coming from. Not just because of this player, but if we're looking at that area, then more likely than not, we might find other potential gems that we haven't found so far for cheaper amount of money as well. It's not like you have to spend. I mean, in Europe, because of the Premier League and the Premier League tax, you have to spend a good amount of money if you're buying from Italy and the French clubs as well. But if you go over in, for example, Brazil, it doesn't have to only be Argentina, Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, like all these other countries, then you might be able to find a few players that you could get on a cheaper deal, which could actually have a big impact. And you can, take more risks, because we're talking about us not having a big amount of budget, right? That's why we're in this position. We spent the least amount of money so far this season in the Premier League if you combine the summer and January transfer window. So yes, that's the positive step that we want to see. But for you, striker, what type of striker profile should we go for when we don't have a manager? Like, is that an area that you might be concerned about? We're talking about player signings, but we don't know who's going to take us forward, unless it's Roy, which won't surprise me with this football club.
It definitely can make you think about, well, if you don't know who the manager is going to be, how do you recruit players based on playing styles? And the only thing I can think of is if you're going to bring somebody in before you bring in a manager, you got to make sure that they're very well-rounded players so that they can fit into a multitude of playing styles and play at a high level. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, so if you're going to look to bring in players before you bring in a manager, you better make sure that they can do a lot of different things and they can be able to bed into a lot of different systems.
Yeah. And for me, I said it before, we need to have a philosophy as a football club. Like, I get it, you want to bring in younger players, and that's one aspect of it. But what type of younger players?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to play a possession-based football at your football club? Do you want to try and attract that type of managers? Because the worst thing that we can do is just buy players for the sake of buying players, and then afterwards, let's say a manager comes in and it doesn't work out, then it's not going to fit the player's not going to fit the profile of our football club, and it's going to get more difficult to replace that player, bring in another player to suit the next manager. But if you have a philosophy at our football club, like, let's say, and it's a defensive style, that's how you want to approach things. You want to be defensively solid, like Atletico Madrid, let's say, or you want to play a possession style of football, like maybe like Brighton, or attacking. Then like that, it'll be easier because if you get rid of a next manager, then the other manager that you bring in can also suit your style of play. The last thing I want us to do is get players for the sake of bringing in players, because there's a big chance that you could also end up like Everton, where they just brought in a lot of players, spent a lot of money, but then players didn't fit in the following manager because the manager didn't work out. And that's the scary thing about it, because it could also go worse. It's not spending money for the sake of spending money. It's how you do spend that money. And if you spend that money that on a player that fits the players, that fits the club's profile, then there shouldn't be as bigger problems. You should be able to move on from managers and bring in other managers that will try to get the best out of the player. But then again, Roy Hodgson compared to Vieira, different styles. We can't always do that if a manager doesn't work out. That's the one thing.
I think that's why it's going to be paramount for us to situate the manager situation first. Situate that first. Make sure we have our however many that we want to put on our final list. We go after them. We finalize with our manager before we start making moves on the player side. I mean, I feel like that's kind of working backwards for us. I mean, we could talk about the rumors at this point, but it's somewhat of a moot point if we don't have an understanding of who's going to be taking us forward into next season, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. Look, Lunis has a question saying, a statement as well. Enes Ünal from Getafe would be a dream, but in reality, he wouldn't come to us, would he? As he's half Turkish and half Spanish person, would be good to see Enes Ünal in Palace, wishful thinking. Funny enough, this is a player that I do know, but I guess you don't know him, T. It's a rare occasion.
I do not.
Yeah, it's a rare occasion. Hey, normally, you know the players, and I don't.
Hey, man.
But look, I watch it for the Turkish national side as well. He played in the most recent game against Armenia. He's a physical player. He's been about. He was at Man City quite a few years ago, and he didn't really have an opportunity there. And he was highly rated. The youngster right now, his age, he's not that old as well. He's only 25 years old. He's doing well in terms of, over in Spain. He seemed like he's settled there. But that player profile wouldn't fit every manager. That's the thing. It depends on what type of manager we bring in. But then again, he's a quality player. I'd love to see him at Palace. But then again, I mean, we haven't been linked with him. So what's the reality that we're looking into these? I mean, we're looking, like you said, once again, South America right now.
Yeah, and then what you said, once again, will he fit, what the eventual manager will want to do,
Exactly. But it depends on what we want to do. That's the main thing. If you want, if that's the type of player that we want, then the next manager shouldn't really be a problem, because we should recruit and get a manager based on that. SE says someone who can score. Well, we got
facts.
Exactly. Well, we got Edward. Nah.
I mean, here's the thing: can score and will score are different things. Right now, I think yes, technically, Edouard can score. I think the question is, will he score at this
Of
point?
the two strikers that we've got, JP and Edward, who do you think is going to get the best out of from Roy Hodgson? Who do you think is going
Oh
to benefit
man,
the most out of them two, if any? Your answer should be straight because he can't be Mateta, can it? He didn't have that
yes,
much
it
game time under
could.
Roy. Yeah,
It
but
really
he didn't have that much
could.
game time under Roy.
But he played a lot for Roy at the end, didn't he? He played for Roy at the end,
Oh, no, I can't remember him playing a lot, T. I genuinely can't remember
and
him
even
playing a lot.
even more,
He
even
did
more than
score some
that,
goals, but he didn't play a lot for Roy. He didn't play a lot for
even
Roy.
more than that, man. We might end up seeing Jordan Ayew. I don't know.
But so out of them two, what you think Mateta has a bigger chance of being a success in the last 10 games
I don't
than
believe so.
Edward?
Personally, not personally, no, because I don't think
So
Mateta is a better player. Personally,
okay.
yeah,
So what Edward it is?
yeah. For me, it is absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree as well. I agree as well. I think Edward will benefit the most, but never know. Maybe JP Roy knows what he can do as well.
And I
Comes
wouldn't be
back, he
surprised.
gets
And
excited.
and you never know. You might see them playing together up top too at certain points.
I
I don't
never.
know, man.
Yes. Yeah. Then again, there's talks about 4-4-2. Well, we're gonna talk about this in the preview, but there's talks about potential 4-4-2 and Wilf playing up front and Eze playing out wide. And we saw Eze play out wide under Roy as well. So you might see neither of them play. It might be a case of both of them on the
I
bench, which will
mean,
be pretty wild. Especially if we play Wilf up front. With I've seen some other lineups, but I think one of them two will play. But I've seen lineups of Wilf and Elise up front. I don't think that's gonna happen. I
I've
think he'll
seen
play
Wolf
one
and
of them
Elise
anyways.
up front. I've seen Wolf and Elite and Eze up front. I've seen Wolf and Ayu up front. Like, I mean, when you're committing to the 4-4-2, you got a lot of different combinations you could be doing with those two front guys. So, um, it's
Roy's
kind of a
gonna come
trickle
back with
down.
a 5 at the back. He's not gonna even do 4-4-2 watch. He's gonna come with like 5-3-2 or like 5-4-1 or 3-4-3.
Hey, we'll see,
It's a new
man.
Roy. It's a new Roy that we don't know.
Oh
We
my
haven't seen this
god.
Roy. He kept in his locker. He kept in his locker for these group of players, bro.
Oh boy. Yeah. Like I said,
Go,
just
go on.
waiting for Saturday, not knowing what to think.
Exactly. I don't know if you want to be excited or horrified. It depends on how you view the situation, really.
Exactly.
Because says it all depends on us staying up first. If we go down, they will be looking at totally different pool of players. Stay up, then yes,
Yeah.
Hunter or will
Yep.
be a possibility as well. Then as well as him wanting his players. Yeah, look, I haven't seen any championship type of players yet, but surely we have to look at both sides of things. I guess it depends on how the next 3 or 4 games go. I mean, if we end up losing the next 3 games, then I doubt that we're going to be talking about players like Mateo Retegui that we're just talking about right now, and we might be talking about maybe we're going to talk about Cameron Jerome back at the football club. But
Oh
yeah,
my
I guess
god.
it depends on both sides of things. But what do you think? Do you think if we go down, I mean, we get rid of a few players. We get rid of Gahey, Anderson.
Yeah,
Wilf is gone.
if we go down, man, we risk a fire sale situation, man, when it comes to the more talented players that we have. And I mean, at the same time, that strategy might end up being what they see as our way to get back up is to try and finance buying multiple players to help us be good enough to get back up in pretty quick succession. But I don't know, man. Like that's when you're talking about being relegated, man, that changes everything. That changes everything, man. It changes the
This
quality
Leicester
of
game is big.
yeah,
It's a big
it
game.
changes the quality of the manager that you're going to be going after. It changes the quality of players that you'll be able to get. You know, it affects a lot of things, man.
Yeah. Big up, AJ. Hopefully you're doing well, bro. I know you've been a bit under the weather recently, but hopefully you're doing well, bro. I'll message you anyways after. Patrick saying 4-4-2 and Eze why did work. To a certain extent, yeah. Even
I
though I
feel like
didn't
Eze
like it, I
started
remember.
playing better. He started playing better when Roy gave him the license to roam inside. I feel like that's when he started to play better
Yeah.
from that position.
I remember. I just remember. Even when he was playing out wide, I remember thinking he's better suited through the middle. Like
Yeah,
I don't remember him
absolutely.
playing that well out wide compared to him playing in the middle. Like I still remember under Hodgson, I would have liked to see him through the middle. And there were
Mhm.
times, as you mentioned, that he did have that freedom slightly to go through the middle. But yeah, for me, he's still as a number 10. But then again, it's I understand people's frustrations right now saying, oh, he's not number 10, he's playing number 10, he hasn't worked out. But I think he's just a player that's lost all confidence. And maybe, having Roy back at the club could help his confidence back up.
Mhm.
So a manager that he knows as well. But we need to get Ebbs back with confidence, because trust me, when he was playing, I know some of you wanted him to start literally every single game, but he didn't warrant that performance. What do you think about it, T?
No, I mean, first of all, it took him a while to get into the swing of it. You know what I mean? Like he didn't take to playing left midfield like right away. He had his struggles. I think a big part of it too was the piece about tracking back and defending. You know what I'm saying? So it took him some time, but like I said, I think he started to get a lot more comfortable and productive once Roy gave him a little bit more of a leeway with drifting into the center and playing from there. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like if we were to deploy that 4-4-2 now and put him out there now, I think he would be more effective from the start than he has been in the past. I mean, especially with him playing winger some this year already too. So
Yeah. Any other things that you want to say, T, before we wrap it up? Unless you want to go on longer, because I have to head out. I mean, is there anything
man,
else that you want to talk about?
I'm just man, just waiting out and waiting for Saturday. I hope things go well, man. I did see earlier also that the rumors of us being interested in Victor Yokeresh have come back too from Coventry.
Victor, is it Victor
Yeah.
Jokeres?
Yep.
Yeah,
It
I
was he
didn't see that.
Swedish striker from Coventry.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that out there. But no, man,
So
other than that, man.
we're looking at championship recruitments already. Then that's
Yep.
the answers for you lot.
Is
Potentially, if I don't think
you
you'll be
know
playing the championship much longer.
you know what's been our bread and butter in recent past.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. We'll see. But look, for the preview questions, don't worry. We'll be answering them on the preview that's going to be coming out hopefully on Wednesday. But that's it from me and T. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to not miss out on future Palace content. We are back. Palace are back. 10 cup finals upcoming. So
10
we'll
in a
be here.
row.
Yeah, in a row. So we'll be here with content throughout the next month or two. It's going to be hectic times as a Palace fan. Hopefully, in the next 3 games, we win that and we comfortably stay up. We can have a bit of fun and not worry as much as we are right now. But thanks to everyone who's watched. And until next time, up the Palace.
Up the Palace.